Well, we're back again. We're going to see what happens here. Hopefully, uh, I can learn on how to link this up. I think I should have been able to do this, and I'm going to try my hardest. Because for future references, if we're ever going to do any interviews, Dragon Sword's going to have to learn to run the board here. So let's see what we got. How about dashboard? Channel level setting. Send feedback. Manage. I don't have access to this feature. I don't know if I can do this just yet. I'm going to have a friend of mine help me out with this. There, playing. Yeah, they also, just to let you know, Ryan, that's right. They do that. It might take 24 hours. That's their old background check, to make sure you haven't gotten any trouble or anything. I had to do that too. But the second time, I was approved in like 5 minutes. So you might have to do that before there. But we will get you here, brother. I guarantee you we'll get you here. That means that that's why I couldn't get Durham on last night because he has to go through that too. He has to punch it in there and they got to give him, verify him. It's called verification. But I'm only going to be on here another 10 or 15 minutes because tomorrow night it'll be in time. Hopefully you'll be approved and you can join me up here as we see Goldberg get beat up. And like I've told you before, or you heard me, I'm saying Obafemi's coming for Gunther. It's time because they brought him out of. He can't stay down in NXT forever. That's too much money lost. And they need something to fire up that other title. And to me, Obafemi's about the only one because the others are all going to be fighting with John Cena. We're going to have to figure out who's going to dethrone him. I think it'll be Seth Rollins, unfortunately. Someone asked me last night, too. I don't know what you think, but I know you can hear me. They asked the question of who was Cena's last opponent. And I got caught off guard, and I thought maybe, he had already gone through two of the ones he should have, would be, CM Punk or Randy Orton. But there is one more. And we looked it up, and he's only 56. He's only 56 years old. You know who he started his career with? I think he may finish his career with if the guy's in shape. Uh, and if some of these wrestlers can go at 60, I can't see any reason why Kurt Angle wouldn't be his last opponent. Or, I doubt it because Sting can barely walk. He's like me anymore. It wouldn't be a very good match. But I'm thinking it's got to be someone we wouldn't even off the map. But that's where Cena got his ruthless aggression. Go back and look at that on YouTube with all the fans. But I'm going to leave this at that. And like I said to all of you, it was going so good. I was doing Friday night football games. I think you remember them because you were a young man back then and you hated Gerard. And their football teams and all that in school and all that. Not that you hated them, but you didn't like them. Uh, but we would always banter back and forth about them winning on there. But like I said, at that time I was being taught how to do Friday night football games with Larry Nicholas, learned so much from him. And matter of fact, he's the one who figured it out that I was the Dragon Sword at work, because he came up to me when I was sitting in the truck. And the other guys at the station, they weren't very sports. They didn't get into sports that much. So I mean, it was out there. It was one in a million who would figure you out. They'd have to hear my voice, and but Larry kind of figured out who I was, and came up and asked me, and I told him. And so he started teaching me high school football, which I'm going to try to do too. Also, to all of you out there that may listen to this down the road, I'm going to do once a week interviews with high school coaches locally. Of course, I have a special connection, and it's not just because of the name, but the Niles Red Dragons are only 2 miles up the road. I may do quite a few of their games just because of the name. And a lot of my uncles went to Niles too. So I'm going to see, and I'm going to interview coaches. Gerard has a fine coach in Patrick Pearson. Down the road, I have stories for that too. It's just amazing at how many years have gone by. And some of the kids, they grew up and they remember me. And if you can achieve that goal in life to where you can help one person and they remember what you've done through the years, no matter what you may have done a lot of bad things, but don't always look down on yourself. Try and look at the good things you've done, because there's going to be a lot of times, throughout as you get to know me, the Dragon Sword has fell flat in his face. And like I said, he tried that flying 28 feet from a telephone pole, and that didn't work out so well. He may have called himself a dragon, but he didn't have any wings. But like I said, that's the tragic ending to what was my career and everything else. And we'll get into that another time. But I just felt like talking about it and working on this blog and excited about being able to stream. So, you fans all have a good night tonight. I'm going to go back to watching the Bella Twins. They were always my favorite. Man, I still don't like Daniel Bryan. If I could have had one match in the WWE, just one match, it would have against Daniel Bryan. And I've also had that in my life too. I was able to have a match in the ring, an independent circuit, but I had a match in the ring. Didn't last very long. I'm not that wasn't trained that well, but I was like a celebrity in there, what they called taking a bump. I took one, pretty good one too. I was going to try to, about a year or two ago, I was going to try to get in the ring with the American Luchador with a kendo stick match, which I'm sure he'd like to beat me with one. But that can't happen. It's just too much on me for now. So, but I'm hoping that someone out there listens to this story and it gets worse before it gets better. But always remember, don't give up. No matter how it is at the end of the line, keep moving forward. Dragon Sword out.